Hey guys, thanks for watching. Elise makes a bunch of videos. It is 7:20 in the morning. I'm just on the way to work. I got this great situation happening here. That's okay, I've got a hat. Oops. So today I wanted to do a story time video. And I was kind of trying to think if I had filmed anything about this before, but I don't think so. I think I posted photos on Facebook and had a written rant about it, but I didn't want to do too much just in case Mom found out back in the day. But now you're watching probably, Mom, so here's the story. When I was on the way to Honduras a couple years ago, I was traveling from Guatemala going to the Bay of Islands. Yes, there's I think 2 main islands that used to be owned by Belize, but then they got swapped anyway. And if you want to Google Honduras presidents politics, then you'll know what I'm talking about, because I don't know really the names or details. But essentially, they had this president who re-elected himself because they had made a constitutional rule that you can only run the country one term because of all the corruption and stuff that happens. So, despite that, this guy decided he's gonna just be president again. After the elections, I was in Guatemala. I was about to go to Honduras in like 3 days. I was in Antigua, and then this other couple of people who were going to the same island as me were saying, oh no, we were gonna wait, but we're leaving tomorrow because there's going to be a series of protests. Probably all the borders will be shut down and you won't be able to get in or out. So if you're gonna go, you kind of have to go ASAP. And I was like, oh. So I shifted my little plans around and got a bus into Honduras the next day. But it was like an overnight bus, I think. I think it left really late at night, or in the evening, afternoon, and then drove in through and got there in the morning, sort of thing. So I did that, and as I was crossing the border, there was literally like people just like waking up. It was probably like 6 a.m. or something, just after sunrise. People waking up, like walking with the signs and like getting ready to protest. So I literally like just made it. Like I was just past the border and there's people going towards the border, and I was like, oh. But they were just getting started. It was fine. I got to the hub, where I then had to change buses, and I think that was in the capital city or something, I can't remember, to La Ceiba, which is the jump off point where the ferry to Utila, where I was going, one of the islands. So I did that. I got to La Ceiba, but it was really late at night. There was no more ferries running. So I very luckily, this taxi driver was like, do you need a ride? And I was like, yeah, do you know Hostel? Because I thought I would make it on the ferry. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And luckily he wasn't like, because sometimes those taxi drivers that are randomly at bus stops being like, hey, I know where you can go, are like evil and bad. But he seemed like alright, and I think he had just dropped someone off too, so it was like, okay. So he dropped me off at this hostel, and I think I was like the only one there, obviously. Like, it was pretty much, people were not leaving their homes. It was like dead in the streets. There was nothing happening. It was really late at night, so I was like, I'm not going out. This is madness. I think I had chips, like a bag of whatever snacks that I had for the day. That was my dinner, like 10 chips and like a, I don't know, a chocolate bar or something that they were selling at the reception. I was like, yep, that'll be fine. And then the very next morning I took the ferry across. And then as soon as I got there, that's when all the news started flooding in. The people had done a protest the day before, and then that day, like the next day, we're shutting all the borders down. There was like, I don't want to say violent protests, but like people were cutting streets, like transport was being halted, like major bridges were being like roadblocked, and it was just like madness for a couple weeks. And it was really funny because I just arrived and everyone's like, oh no, we can't leave, and so everyone was stuck on the island when I first got there. It was really funny. And then I found out later that actually one of my cousins was on the island at the same time, and I think he had got there before me, and we must have been like 50 meters away from each other at certain points, but I never saw him until later when I got home, and we were talking, and he was like, oh, I was there, when were you there? And then I was like, where were you? And it was like, oh, I was at this place. And I was like, oh, I was at this place. And wow, we were there at the same time, what the hell? But I think he ended up leaving as soon as he could, because I think he was just waiting. Everyone was just like, how do I get out of here? But the island was actually fun, because those two islands are sort of like tourist islands, so they're sort of like Cancun in the hotel district. Like, it's a whole different country basically, because all the like white people are there. But yeah, so I made it, and it was just like, it's so funny how like weird giant political things end up randomly affecting my travel stuff, like right now. But yeah, I still follow the dive shop, Paradise Divers, on Instagram, and they seem to have some people there, so I don't know if they're Honduran or what is their story, but they seem to be having some clients, so that's good. They're still able to operate, I guess, it looks like. And actually a lot of my traveler friends, even through this pandemic, now it's 2021, people are starting to like think the vaccine's coming, things will start to get back to normal. But some of them have like really pushed through and like stayed wherever they've been. I feel like New Zealand was pretty easy for the pandemic, especially. But I know people who are in like Costa Rica and like different places in Latin America or Europe or whatever, who are just like, well, I'm just gonna stay here until I can not, or whatever. So yeah, it's all about your determination to do the stuff and go the places. Anyway, that's my story for today. I hope you enjoyed. I am trying to get a couple more going in the next little while, but I've got to get to work now. I'm just warming up the car, so hopefully that rumbling isn't too bad on the audio. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace!